Hello and welcome to the very first Stretch Mufflers. I'm Lacey. That's Will. Up there's Taylor. And to yonder, wrong way, that way,
Yes.
is said. And we're here to break down the Opus Magnus, the 5.5 hour, if you take in the pre-show, juggernaut that was this past Sunday's AEW Double or Nothing. So, as
Chris,
it was a
before we
bloody
go
long
on,
show,
I want to say hello to Taylor. First time on our
Hello.
channel, and hopefully first of many, if we can convince you to be a full-time Stretch Muffler.
Hey, why not? I think I have the right shirt for it.
so
Spoilers for later.
So we will touch on the pre-show match first, which saw Tony Nese and Mark Sterling going against Hookhausen. In our predictions, this is the one I do remember. We all went Hookhausen, so we all get points. It was exactly what it needed to be. Hook smash, Danhausen curse. Danhausen gets the pin. Perfect little opener. Will?
Said and predict very right. Tag in Danhausen. Danhausen gets the pin.
Yes.
I mean, it was as you say, it was a fun one, wasn't it? This was like kind of your opening pre-show. Let's get the crowd pumped up by giving them two fan favourites, and let's have some fun in the ring, wasn't it? Thoroughly enjoyable for me.
Same here.
See, I didn't watch the pre-show, so I missed this. So I'll have to take your word for it. I'll probably go back and watch it because I've been a bit busy setting up my own stuff at the minute. I've missed the last couple of weeks of build. So I saw the start of this where basically Hook was just not getting cursed by Danhausen, and now they're together. I'm like, okay, I have to go and watch this now. I have to know how Hook and Dan. This just makes no sense, but I want to know.
It's a beautiful story, Taylor. It's layered like an onion, but effectively you covered everything right there. Danhausen cursing. Yeah, there was some crisps, and now they're friends.
Okay.
It's a beautiful story. It's how all good love stories start, isn't it?
It's a tale all the time.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, for me, a really fun opener. You got Danhausen shenanigans, and what I thought was quite nice is that you got a few moments here and there with Danhausen in the ring, because up until now, because of his broken leg, he's not really been able to do a lot in the ring. So it was nice to see him in the ring, and one special shout out. Well, I want to put a special shout out to the outfit as well. Mark Sterling's outfit was probably outfit of the night for me.
Yeah, repping the Baker foil spacesuit with yellow wrestling gear over. Classy.
Oh god, yes.
Right, yeah, I have to go watch this pre-show just for this.
Honestly,
just last 10 minutes is all you need.
Okay,
you won't see outfits like that very, very often in the world. Well, actually, it's a lie in the world of wrestling. Obviously, you see everything, but yes, and even him. I mean, he got a modicum of ring time, but yeah, hook smash, Danhausen, beautiful Chris Jericho-esque pin, lovely. Got me. I
just want to say this because I won't get talking about it on the main show, but Hook. I didn't know about Hook until he turned up, and I didn't get it. And then I watched him wrestle, and it's like, holy crap!
You can tell he is his dad's son.
Yeah,
it was a real oddity, wasn't it? Because for a long time it was just he was there, and you're thinking, well, what is he? And I remember the debut, and I was thinking, don't get me wrong, one of the best theme tunes in wrestling right now doesn't harm him either. But yeah, the guy is good in the ring, and he's just got such an air about him that you think this guy's a star. I hope they don't mess him up.
I don't want to be mean, but I think he's more talented than his father. I don't mean that in a mean way. Taz was the tank. He literally was the human suplex machine, and that's what he was good at. Whereas Hook seems to have so much more in his arsenal.
Hook definitely has the charisma more than Taz did, especially early Taz. If you think back to Tasmaniac level back when he started, but I don't think he's at his dad's level just yet. But
Not
A
yet,
beau-
but I think
a
it's
beautiful-
I could see what he's doing.
ton of crossover appeal though as well. Like, no offense to his dad again, but like Hook looks very current, doesn't he? He's going to get a ton of fans based off of that alone. And as you say, the charisma. Taylor, I know you haven't seen it, but when Hook has his matches, he does that bit where he goes into the corner before the match and kind of leans on his arms, all casual.
Yeah.
Beautiful moment because Danhausen starts sneaking into the side of the screen. Perfect. Those two are
Danhausen has got
couple.
some of the best comic timing I've seen.
Oh god, yeah.
So we then go into the main pay-per-view, which this surprised me that this opened the fucking show.
Yeah.
MJF versus Wardlow.
It surprised me a little bit less after the shenanigans we'd seen over the course of the weekend. I thought, is this almost, when Brock turns up and then goes, oh, well, I've got a plane booked in 5 minutes to get my match on now because I'm going home. But
we all know how this match was going to go. This was a foregone conclusion that Wardlow was just smashing MJF. It was just about how long.
Except for him.
Except for the person he predicted against
I have listened to that predictions episode. I listened to that today at work, so I have listened. I can see where you're coming from, but this was all about how long is it going to take Wardlow to get his hands on MJF? Because MJF is literally the best chicken shit heel ever. He is. No one is ever going to be better than him, and he just plays that role so fantastically. Just so it was all down to that how long they drug it out, and they hit all the right spots in all the right ways.
Well, and considering again the shenanigans over the weekend and the Willy Won'ty and what was really going on, he come out and he played that part, didn't he? There was no kind of pomp and circumstance or any attempt to kind of prima donna it. He come out and, as you said, played that chicken shit heel that I think only he can do in this modern era. And I just love it. The rolling out of the ring, the not getting close to him, and then the beautiful moment where he offers to buy him out by quadrupling his wages. And they do the handshake and he pulls him in, and it's going to happen. But it felt so right. And as much as I wanted it to go on longer, how satisfying was it when the Powerbomb Symphony started? Just absolutely beautiful.
No,
all 12 power bombs to death.
My worry now is, though, now this is over, what are they going to do with Wardlow? Because while he is an athletic big man and he's great, and they've sort of built him up to be AEW's Goldberg, you can't escape those comparisons, with the way they were doing the entrance and stuff. And I know in an interview he's talked about being compared to Batista. It's all fine and good, but they've got to feed him the right opponents now and give him the right stories to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, I mean, with this one, as I said in the predictions thing, was like you feed him scrubs a little bit to get him win records because technically, everything he's done up till now doesn't technically count because he wasn't actually a member of the AEW roster. You then feed Scorpio Sky to him, you give him the TNT title, you give it the open challenge ring, he kills people until he then gets a title shot at that point when MJF is the world champion.
If MJF is ever the world champion, if he ever appears. But no, I'm with you, Taylor. They've built up a lot of cachet with me. They've done some great stuff with their stories, but I think yes, the next step for Wardlow is a hugely important one. Like he's got his freedom now. That kind of cathartic tale has been told. Very, very interested to see what they do next. Really, really gutted though that when he had his moment at the end, they didn't pipe in the "This is War" because I've missed that in all the weeks that the War Pig has unfortunately not been able to have a theme tune.
They might not be keeping that. Maybe they'll be changing his music as well.
Oh, don't break my heart.
Yeah. Though the one thing I did find very funny in this was as they were wheeling out MJF, putting the oxygen mask on him over his eyes.
Yeah, over his eyes, yeah.
Don't ever get really injured and have to go to the AEW doctor.
And again, I mean, like regardless of what plays out with his contract and everything, hats off to him for coming and doing that for Wardlow. Like, if he really had thrown his toys out the pram, he could have no-showed, and this was such a big moment for him, and I'm glad he kind of did. And again, doing the stretcher job and all that sort of stuff. But there was, when you look at it as like a match, there's no match here, is there? This is story, and I loved it.
Squash.
I didn't need a match. Yep, I didn't need any moves here. We just needed powerbomb, and that beautiful moment where he pins him and then goes, nope, more power bombs, please. Yeah, really good.
Nope.
Yeah,
Exactly what we needed.
Crowd were really. I mean, we'll talk about the crowd, I think, in a lot of this, but the crowd had set their stall out on this one. They were loving Wardlow, hating MJF, and you could tell this crowd wanted this event. Good on you, crowd.
Oh yeah, no, this crowd, 10 out of 10. This was, they did, yeah.
Yeah, they were fucking nuclear on MJF.
As they should be, and that's what MJF is, a working version of the Miz from back in the day.
Oh no, he's you don't.
He's better, tons better. Don't get me wrong. But
with the Miz, he's there with Piper.
Yeah, actually, that's
level of fucking heat.
Oh, that's where he is. But it's in a modern comparison. You know, look, I know we're old. I've been around since the Hogan era.
I'm the youngest.
Yeah,
face. But what I'm saying is, it's a fair comparison. He is what they wanted the Miz to be, but the Miz
I'm with you.
And that's before they do stupid things with the Miz, like making him face. That's just doesn't. No. That's the Fed, and yeah.
Well, and also I think what you say spot on there. I think this is when, with WWE supposedly being interested in him, you can see why. Because as you say, Taylor, this is what they wanted the Miz to be, and he is ready-made. And I don't want him to go, but he is ready-made for the WWE already, isn't it? You can just plug him straight in, and away you go. Let him do his thing, and superstar for any federation he goes to. The man is amazing.
He's going to be your top heel.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
If Tony Khan has any sense, he opens up his checkbook and gives him MJF what he wants, because it came out that he was only on like 150 grand a year, which is like the deal that he signed when he first started. He's not been given a bump up at any point.
No, he has been given a bump up. He had a bump up, I think, at the end of year one, but he did have to sign an extension. But yeah, nowhere near, I guess, the levels of some of the top guys. And I think you're right. I think you got someone as talented as that, you pay them. But also, he did sign a contract. So I'm kind of got my feet in two camps on this one. But yeah, I do think he should get paid. But do it in the right way, I think. And I'm not sure this is the right way.
My one concern is if MJF goes to WWE, that they WWE him and take off all the things that work. He works because he has those sharp, rough edges. He has that ability to be that nasty and hit below the belt. Go back to him and the Punk promos where it was vicious. Well, and I think the Fed will try and smooth it off too much.
You take him to the Fed and you script him and you get him to say things like sucker and succotash in the middle of his promos. You destroy him, don't you? But yeah, that would be the hope. I think if you're signing him to do his act, aren't you? But who trusts the WWE with any talent? I certainly don't. That's for sure. So no. please stay, but please get paid, MJF.
So we follow that with the Spot Monkey match of the evening, with your boys said the Bucks of Youth versus the Hardleys.
Elite versus Delete.
Oh look, he's got his little Bucks of Youth toys. Aww.
What? Oh my god.
Yeah, this is how much of a fanboy Seddon is of the Bucks.
Well, that and it was a bargain. Like, I got it right cheap, and it goes for a few bob, so I did buy it for that reason as well.
That's a fair point. I'm saying nothing. My pops are up back here.
My dad's got them over there, which you can't see.
We are pop-friendly creators here, aren't we?
So, shall I drop my controversial? Well, I don't think it's going to be controversial. This match sucked.
Yep.
I hated it.
Same here.
Matt and Jeff, just both of them are done.
Yeah.
This really did show that they can't even hit their spots now.
Yeah.
And
Like they were
Jeff,
missing easy jumps just on. One of them, they were like a foot away from.
what the trash compactor
Yeah.
bit, yeah.
Yeah.
And
There were some bad spots in this, weren't there? There
It
really
looks
were
so
some
bad.
lifetime spots.
And this is
Jeff
a shame
doing that bit on the stairs. No, don't need to see that.
No, please don't. You are not 20. You don't need to do these again. And the worst thing, I think, why this match sucks so much, apart from obviously the in-ring action, was it's the books, it's the Hardys. You have a certain vision in your head, especially if you've seen the ROH matches.
Yeah.
This had a lot to live up to, and I'm sorry, I love the Hardys. They've been around so long, but they can't go anymore, or they can't go to that level. And it's scary watching them. There was some of those, like you were saying about the step spot. Some of that, it's like I don't want to see this. I'm convinced you're going to get hurt. And then that ending with Jeff, that was a bit of a TNA flashback.
Yeah, there was a few of them where it was like, what's happening here? I don't think this is TNA Jeff where he was, all hopped up on booger sugar and everything else that was going on. This is more Jeff is broken down and shouldn't be doing this shit. Though it's the fact that Matt's more broken down is the point where I'm like, that's even more worrying.
Yeah. I actually
he
feel really sorry for Matt, because Matt turned up during the pandemic with the character that we all wanted, and because there was no crowds, he had to change so much. And then he had the accident. Was it one of the pay-per-views where he fell?
Yeah. And again, that was a horrible moment because he hit his head, didn't he, on the concrete, and then foolishly they let the match continue. And I mean, like I get where you guys are on this. I didn't hate it. I think the one thing I'm really relieved about is we said it on the predictions one of going, what I don't want is I don't want to be here doing the review and going, oh my God, one of them hurt themselves really badly. And I think you said it a second ago, Taylor. I'll be honest, when I watch both of them in the ring now, I'm just worried the whole time because they are going to take big risks. They are going to do things that their bodies won't let them do anymore. And as you say, they don't need to do it anymore. They probably just need to change their styles or just stop. However, one thing I will say is that I didn't mind the match because I liked what they attempted in the story. I liked the fact that it wasn't ridiculous spot fest after ridiculous spot fest. I like the fact that they weren't jumping off of like the ceiling of the stadium and things like that.
It wasn't the Lucha Brothers Young Bucks cage match, which was brilliant, but was spot fest.
Well, and there was a bit of a story there with for me, the story that I took from it is that the Hardys are not a bit past it now, and that shows. And that the Bucks were uber confident, and the Bucks were dominating a lot of it, but the Hardys got the win, and it's almost. I'm scared to say the next bit. The rallying cry for them to now go on a run and face all those other tag teams in AEW. So I didn't hate it. Is the honest truth. But
I'm sorry,
but I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that though. I don't want to see them going. I want to see the Revival beat them and then them go on their merry way. I think that's probably it for me. But
the worst thing is, I think they were doing a great thing with Matt with the Matt family office, where he was that sort of slimy agent, where he got involved a little, but he had everyone around him to, I don't want to say carry, but protect him more. And it was a good. And then they sort of blew it all out the water, and it's like, no, didn't. I love these guys. I have fond memories of guys, but these guys have put themselves through so much, done so many crazy things, and you can see it now. And it's like, guys, we love you, but no more in ring. Just
Well, and I think the spot on that with guys, we love you, and we don't want to see you in wheelchairs in the near future. We want to see you, like take your bow, and at the very least, Matt Hardy, get a haircut. You can't rock that haircut anymore.
No!
It looks ridiculous now.
Okay, trans person in the room, I know, but I'm going to say this. There's somebody's hair. We have to talk about it later on because that bald spot, oh my God.
Though, isn't that what spray-on hair's for? when we get to a certain Canadian later on.
We're gonna beg you, idiot.
So there is next was the TNT women's title match with Jade versus Anna Jay. This was sloppy as fuck. I know Jade's green is the term, and is sort of learning on the job. Anna Jay, I know is one that's not been about ages, but this was just really sloppy.
I'm going to be honest. I like this match. I love Jade. I think Jade has got it on the mic. I think Jade has got the look. Jade is growing in the ring, and when she gets it in the ring, she is going to be top level. But
Jade works best when she's in there with someone that can carry their end of the bargain.
Yes, absolutely.
This wasn't the case in this match.
Yeah, this is what surprised me when they put Anna Jay in. And I love Anna Jay. I love the Dark Order. But
yes,
Anna Jay was a mistake. Like you said, Chris is completely right. She needs that someone in there with that more experience, and it looks like we're getting that. But you know what? I've watched her come on, and this is a lot less sloppy than she was.
Yeah,
and she did the sack of shit, which made me really happy. So people don't know, Razor Ramon used to do the faraway slam, and it was called the sack of shit, and she's got that nice.
Well,
and she does throw them like a sack of shit.
She does.
I mean, I'm probably somewhere betwixt in between, because I think she's a superstar in the making, but she does need work in the ring. I think maybe you put her into events like this because this is where she gets her experience. Now, I grant you, I think it's a much better idea putting her in the ring with someone who can carry that match. But I think get her the reps. And also, I want the title. I want that title defended. And pre what happens at the end of this match, there isn't that much experience in that roster that wasn't already doing something that night that could have gone in there with her. So. But yeah, absolute superstar in the making, and I think that these two will fight for many years, and I think matches will get better and better. But yeah, I'm glad it wasn't too long. Is the honest truth.
I have to be honest though, with Anna Jay and Ty Conti, and the Bunny and Penelope Ford have got a lot of goodwill from me because of that street fight match.
Yes, yeah,
that generated a lot of goodwill towards them. That was unbelievable. But before we get on to the arrival, I think what really bugs me about AEW is their women's division should be just as good, if not better, than WWE's because of the talent that they've got. But because it's not given time and space to breathe is really annoying, especially because they've got shows like Dark and Dark Elevation. Do a third show that's just the women's stuff. Get those women on there, having matches, doing promos, getting the experience they need. It's on YouTube. People will either go and watch it or they won't, but they're getting that experience, and you're going to make that division so good. Because the trouble with AEW's division is either they're all really fantastic, so you've got your Britt Bakers, your Thunder Rosas, your Serena Deebs, or you sort of get Anna Jays, which the gulf is too big.
And that gulf is really noticeable when you get to big matches like this, isn't it? That's where it really shows up. But I'm with you. I think it's a cracking idea that Dark or Dark Elevation becomes a showcase to build up that division. And you can, sorry.
I was going to say, and you can still have your Britt Bakers or your Jade Cargills, but you don't do them every week. You do them once a month. They are a specialty. They are, when they come, shit's real.
Well, I mean, I love AEW. I'm a huge fan of it. If there's one criticism I will throw at them in the 3 years that I've been watching it is, I don't think they have done brilliantly on the women's division, as you say. And I think a large part of that is they kind of settled into this format of one match a week max, and I don't think it's worked. But yeah, I kind of hope that changes and that there's more coming forward.
There's one other problem with the women's division, but we'll talk about that in a later match, or her in a later match.
Intrigue for later. So Bivens turns up, or whatever they're calling him now.
Stokely Hathaway. Please don't use his dirty WWE name. Stokely Hathaway.
And obviously we have Ember Moon, or Athena, as she's going back to, turns up as well. I'm all for Athena Ember Moon in, because I've seen that girl live, and yes, she is fucking good.
I remember watching her make her NXT debut and just my jaw hitting the floor at what she could do. It was leaps and bounds above stuff I'd seen. It was like she was amazing. And they mishandled her so badly.
Yeah, oh god, yes. And right the way up to the
fair,
end. I mean, if anything, the end for her, as much as you don't want to see people released, it felt like a sweet release for her, because she thought they never got. Well, I say they never got her in NXT. I think they got her, to a degree. But as soon as she went up to main roster, what a terrible misuse of a talent! And my God, I hope she gets the national attention she deserves on AEW. And I think this is a great signing for him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And part of me hopes that her running buddy from the back end of that NXT run, when she went back down to NXT, Dakota Kai, is coming along soon as well, once her 90 days ends.
That would be grand.
That's the thing, you need that sort of level of talent to help the Jades, the Anna Jays, even Tay, to be around people that have done the reps and been around the world a bit.
I don't want to pass up Stokely, though. I think that is an amazing signing. I think that boy is quality on the mic. I think he can really help. Now, don't get me wrong, I actually quite like Jade with Smart Mark Sterling. I think he's good as well. But that's a perfect him with the baddies. I think this is going to be AEW gold going forward, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see what Stokely does in there. I think it'll be a great addition to the AEW roster.
See, I'm still having to adjust. Oh, wait, you can have managers now that talk, other than letting Paul Heyman carry everything.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not a manager. He's an advocate. That's the difference.
Well, regardless, he is probably still the shining light of anything when he turns up, because that man is gold.
Yeah.
We followed that with the 6-man tag match of the House of Black versus Death Triangle.
No. The wannabe death metal band versus Death Triangle.
I was going to say, they were very much Behemoth with their looks.
Thank you. I was sat there watching, going, "You remind me of someone," and I couldn't place who.
Yeah, it was very much they'd just seen Behemoth on their last tour and went, "We're copying that face paint look. That's the corpse paint we require."
So I remember from the prediction show, this was not one you two were looking forward to.
No. Again,
do you remember what we predicted?
Too spotty. I think I said Death Triangle to win.
You did.
And I was just like, because I didn't have any faith in the House of Black at this point.
I went House of Black, didn't I? I remember now.
I can't remember which one I chose.
Will, I think you went House of Black as well. I think you and me were on the same page on this one, I think.
Don't know.
Let's just say we're winning based off of that.
Yeah, you're losing.
Though, at least the Julia Hart stuff finally paid off.
Yeah,
that was the only thing I got out of this match, was that 2-month thing has finally happened.
Really? See, I loved this match. I absolutely loved it. Now, don't get me wrong, it was spot. But when you've got Pac, when you've got Ray Phoenix, when you've got Penta, I just think they're amazing at the spots they do. And that's Buddy Murphy and Black. I think these are great workers. And as I said, I'm ready for this to end. But I actually really enjoyed this on the night, because this was my high flying spot fest with a big lad to smash him down moment of the evening. And I was all in. I was bad pun, but I was all in on this match. I thought it was fantastic.
See, I'm lucky because I missed the build up. I haven't got as bored of them, but I am after this match going, right, okay, let's move on now, because I want to see the guys do other things.
Yeah.
Because I really like Malachi, although why Malachi Black? Just call him Tommy N. That's what we all know him as.
I must admit, that's what I thought they would have. AEW sort of does like a little bit more, but I thought he would come in as Tommy End, and I wanted Tommy End,
but he's captivating, But is the shtick going to... well, obviously, the shtick is kind of wearing for you, especially Chris. It's wearing a bit thin.
It was this
it's
feud,
not
though,
something
wasn't
that
it,
we've
Chris?
had before, though. Yeah, this feud is just digged on, and the fact that the House of Black have not done anything else other than this Death Triangle stuff and spitting in Julia Hart's face months ago, and it's just like, are you doing anything else? Are you recruiting? Are you being evil? Are you going to do something to warrant that? But just
there was a
hasn't been
moment.
anything.
There was a moment where I went fantasy booking mad, and Pat goes up onto the bit just before Julia Hart comes out. The lights go down, and you know how I love a bit of long term booking. I thought he was going to turn, because I thought they were going to go back to the time when he was the first one to get Black Mist spewed in his face, and I thought, oh, Pat's going to turn, he's going to become part of it. But they went for medium long term booking by bringing out Julia Hart instead. But I'm still not unconvinced.
She's the biggest winner out of this, the whole lot, because I'm sorry, as much as I like Brian Pillman Jr., the Varsity Blondes shtick is like dated to hell and back.
Yeah.
So getting that split up.
It was dated in the 90s when his dad was doing it, let alone now.
Yeah, I think it's a good move for her, because again, now she is in a stable with people who are going to elevate her a lot higher, and I'll be really interested to see what she does with it. But
she's only young, isn't she? I mean, she's only like 19, 20.
Well, and as we said, like this, unless I'm really mistaken, end of feud, please. House of Black move on, and then Lucha Bros move on, and whether they move on with Death Triangle, or whether Pat goes on and does something. But I will pretty much take them wrestling anyone on a pay-per-view. I just think they're a great act. I think they're so good in the ring.
As I said on the thingy, obviously the rumor is that there's going to be the trios belts coming in. You can give Death Triangle the trios belts and
I'd take it,
have at it, and put them in there against members of the Dark Order, or you bring in some actual trios teams from AAA or wherever, and have some really good lucha matches. That's fine, but I don't think House of Black as an entity should be in trios matches or going for the trios belt, and they need something new to go and be evil and satanic over.
The Varsity Bloods?
I'm guessing Dark Order is probably the logical place to step to next for them. You've got one good evil organization. I don't know how that works, but yeah. And then you've got the House of Black being evil, not Dan.
Well, they're not evil; they're just a cult.
And I feel like
Dark Order's just a cult, you know.
I feel like Dark Order is possibly something's going to happen, isn't it? Like either they fizzle out and they all move on, or something like that. But I think, I think you might be right there, Taylor. I think maybe the sort of owners of that might be House of Black dismantling them, because I think a lot of the acts in that, like Ted and things like that, I think they want to move them on or into other things. So
as I say, I think most of them have disappeared, because I haven't seen Cult in ages. I know one of the original
Cult.
The other one that was in the team with Evil Uno is gone.
Stu Grayson, his contract went out, which was a big loss for me. I'm a big fan of Stu Grayson, but
yeah, the thing is, like someone like Johnny Hungy, you can do something with him on his own.
Evil Uno, I think you can do stuff on his own. Like you can go back to his old school player Uno days, and they can risk the wrath of Nintendo suing him for his Nintendo-based tights.
I don't think we'll get that again. So next we had the first of the Owen Hart Memorial Tournament Trophy Tournament Foundation Tournament final match. Owen Hart with Joe versus Cole. This was exactly what I wanted.
Never do that again, Chris, because when you start off with Joe versus, I think you're going to say The Volcano, which is the worst movie I've ever watched, and I hated it. So it brought back really bad flashbacks for me then. I hated it.
This was absolutely fucking awesome. This very much old school NXT vibes, you know, when it was good. I was all for this, and I called it that I knew that Cole would win because the whole power couple winning it. Spoilers for later. But
He
yeah,
just gave away the next one.
It's no tease, is he? You can't tease that story out.
What if people
Terrible
haven't,
anyway.
like? What if people haven't seen it and they're just?
Oh, by the way,
then it's all going to get ruined because we're telling them
yeah.
everything that's happened.
Yeah, because
if,
maybe they want to see it.
If
they
people
don't
haven't
want to
seen
watch
it,
the video.
spoilers.
And now we tell them.
Yeah, you should have told. You should have done it at the beginning. You're the YouTube
come
boy.
on. Who doesn't want the spoiler warning 35 minutes into the video? That's how it's supposed to be, isn't it?
Yeah, we're giving spoilers just to let you know.
Yeah. And one of them is for the match after this. Thanks, Chris.
But yeah, no, this was banging. It's exactly what I wanted, and this was the first real shining moment of this show.
What do you expect? It's Cole, it's Joe. These guys know what they're doing. You know you're getting a cracking match. My only thing was this: I didn't like the finish. It made sense, but it was a very underwhelming finish. You know, it was some really strong kicks to the head and then lowering the boom. But you kind of wanted, you wanted a big finish for this. Then again, I can't see Adam Cole hitting the Panama Sunset or anything on Sunrise, whatever it's called, on Joe. That just, yeah.
Yeah, it did. Probably like Lacey said, it did give me that kind of NXT feels, which I always want those NXT feels because I love those events so much. I think though what it probably did for me, and I'm with you, Taylor. I think the ending was anticlimactic, but it made me want to see this match run back at a later date, maybe with a bit more time on, maybe not such a stacked card or a overwhelmed card, but yeah, made me want more.
Main event, Ring of Honor title, that sort of level.
Yeah, that
give him
that
an
would
hour
work for me. Yeah, I don't know if Joe's got an hour in him anymore, but a good sort of 25-30 minutes, so I reckon could be nice. Lovely to see Joe. Joe felt like Ring of Honor Joe to me here, and again, don't get me wrong, I love TNA Joe. I love NXT Joe, but Ring of Honor Joe is my Joe, and this felt like him stepping back to those days. They're kind of a bit more walk in there, just try and do heavy move, put people on a chair outside, kick their head off. More of this, please. Yeah, as I say, I'll take this match over and over again. Thank you. And I think it will be better done on other events. I think this was. I mean, it was about 13 minutes or so, wasn't it? But I think actually this had more in it if they had a bit more time on the card.
Yeah, this was definitely this one could have gone longer. You could have saved some time elsewhere in the show for this one. Yeah, all for it.
I didn't really like it. I wanted Joe to win. Joe's been beating everyone, but then finally he faces somebody who's actually decent. Oh, he loses. That basically just tells him, oh, you're only good against bad people. Just take down more bad people. That's all you're gonna do. So that's why I really didn't like it. And
sound like Don King promoting a boxing event there. You can only fight bad people. We won't put you against anyone good. I mean, but Cole. I mean, that's Cole's career, really, isn't it? Like Cole wins.
Yep.
You know, he kind of always. Well, I say always. Predominantly, he picks out a win, even in matches where he's outsized and things like that. It's his whole shtick, isn't it?
Cole is. I'm going to say this, and might get shouted out. You might agree. Cole is new gen era Shawn Michaels.
Yep,
that's what he is. He's a modern take of that, where he just comes in, he wins lots. He's annoying. He's irritating. You want to see him have the piss beaten out of him, yet somehow the little shit manages to win.
Yeah. And sometimes he wins clean, predominantly not. And I think that's the thing that makes him. You know how we were talking about MJF being this kind of master chicken shit heel on the mic. Cole does a lot of that, but more with his in-ring stuff, doesn't he? And like kind of the factions and the cheating. And yeah, I love that comparison to Shawn Michaels. I think the only big difference between him and Shawn Michaels is height. And I think that was the big difference that didn't allow him to get maybe the push he needed in WWE. But yeah, big fan of Adam Cole.
Yeah, that was definitely the reason why Vince didn't get a hard on for Cole like you did for Shawn.
Yeah.
So we then have the ladies' final tournament final. Owen Hart Foundation final. Owen Hart Foundation. Go to the website, find out the details. Owen Hart Foundation championship tournament final match.
Now, I'd like to say before you ping in, Lacey, this has got to be the easiest match ever to predict. And how, in what universe would anyone ever get this result wrong? Because there's no way that Britt wasn't winning this, except for when I predicted that Britt wasn't winning it. Yeah.
Same with me. I thought Ruby was going to win.
So
yeah,
That
Ruby
entrance,
hasn't won anything.
that entrance meant Ruby was winning, right? We're so conditioned. She got rancid to do her song live.
Well, that's the thing. I was doubting my prediction until that intro, and I thought, well, no, she's definitely winning. You don't do that intro unless they're winning. Like, so yeah, I was like, no, I've got this one in the bag.
But Britt had, Jericho wank boy over to wank off his guitar.
Miming his guitar.
Exactly. Of the two bands, I've seen both. I've seen Fozzy and I've seen Rancid live. Rancid are always the better choice.
See, I haven't seen Rancid in a while, so when they cropped up, I went, shit, they got old.
Yeah, Tim does look like a tattooed hobo now.
But yeah, and this is where I alluded to earlier. Here comes another problem with the women's division. It's DMD.
Yeah.
She's Stephanie McMahon from Attitude Era, always winning. And it's a problem because no one's growing. They need Britt to go away for a bit. And I don't mean that in a nasty way. They need her to go, let people rise up to her level again because there's no one up there. You might have, Thunder Rosa?
Like say I have a leg injury or something. Oh no, take a month off. Everyone goes up. Oh, finally they can actually.
I hate to quote the cranky podcaster manager, but how will I miss you if you don't go away?
Exactly.
And there's a bit of me, like, we said this kind of in the predictions thing of going, she has been amazing and she's a mega star, and that kind of built out of her talent, her ability on the mic. But as you say, she's too far above everyone at the moment, and they needed something. And that's why I thought the loss here would be a good thing, because I think it could lead into her disappearing. We saw it when she lost to Thunder Rosa. Now, admittedly, they only retained it for a few weeks, but she was like, well, I'm not coming back on this show till we get to Pittsburgh. And I thought maybe another loss, you could potentially continue with that. Like, she kind of takes a ball and goes home in a faux MJF way, but actually do something with that. And yeah, I don't know. But
and it's not because she's bad; she's too good.
But having said that, now that they've got this, and it depends what they do with it, now they've got this shtick of like basically the King and Queen of Hearts, which they could go with their belts. You could potentially have him and her doing their thing over there and not necessarily interrupting the women's division. Maybe. I don't know.
Or they could smash Tay and Sammy and take the AAA mixed tag titles off them and, send them off to Mexico for a while.
No.
But yeah, I'm
not a fan of that idea.
No to the match.
I'm with you, Taylor. They're almost in a bit of a cursed position here, aren't they? Is that their biggest star is not elevating those around it, but I think they're being probably overly protective of her because I think they don't want to mess up what they've got. But yes, I think matches like this, she could have taken a loss. And as I say, there were inbuilt stories in there. Like, you pull the trigger on Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter messes up, and that like leads to some contention between them and things like that. But it is what it is. It wasn't a match that I was overly enamored with either, to be honest. It wasn't bad. I just Ruby.
What does it say about Ruby? Because now she's had 2 matches against Britt, one for the title, one for this, and she's essentially choked.
Yeah,
and that's what they're building, and they're wasting her. She's really good.
Well, and do you know what I found really odd is I remember watching her before she went to WWE, and thinking, like really, really good in the ring. Then in a WWE time, I think we saw her less and less. Let's be honest, they didn't really know what to do with her, and her matches were sporadic. And when she first come back to AEW, it felt like she had a bit of sloppiness to her, like ring rust almost, even though she'd been employed. And I still feel some of that's in her matches, and I just don't think she's as good as she was. But I think she can be. And as I say, I think she's, for all intents and purposes, everyone who's ever worked with her, like in the ring or backstage, has nothing but good to say about her. So I think she's brilliant to have in that women's roster, because I think she will help teach those acts that are a bit more green, really kind of how to work and how to conduct themselves better. But I don't know. Yeah, her specialness is gone. The theme tune isn't enough to keep carrying her forward, I don't think.
Yeah,
They need to help her.
The thing is, I can see what you can do with her is that you can chuck her in against Jade at some point soon and have her choke that, and then do the big redemption thing for her to come back, which is fine for Ruby on her own. But it doesn't help the state of your division at the moment when she is that top tier of has been around, has done this, has the experience that could actually help others and bring everyone up instead of just sort of crushing her. But get
her in a tag
get the
team
squad back.
Well, I don't, not even necessarily that, but I think if we're talking about getting some of the female acts more covered on TV and also more ring time and more experience, because they've got such a limited pool of let's say quite vast experience, and probably help out like your Serena Deebs and your Rubies. Maybe tags are the way to go, because you're going to get 4 people in the ring, and like 3 people can learn from the one and things like that. So maybe that's the way, but I mean,
I know she's more occupied, but like Statlander, who's another fantastic talent, or you give her someone green like Sky Blue, maybe someone who's fresh. Give her someone so Sky can learn her way that way.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think you're right. I think that definitely, again, this is the biggest problem with the women's division is Britt Baker always wins, and they just don't seem to be interested in building other talents up or giving them the time that they need to grow and progress to be seen as better talents to go against Britt. Because half the time, if it's a Britt Baker match, she's winning.
And you run into the risk of it becoming WWE and Roman Reigns. Like, who can beat Britt? Who can beat Roman? Don't get me wrong. I mean, it can work, but the thing for us, or certainly for me as a fan, is I want to think someone can beat them. If I go into the match, and okay, part of that, they'll get matches against people you just go like no chance, but I don't see that contender coming through. Now, obviously, they did it with Thunder Rosa, but yeah, what do you do with Britt? Like, effectively, she should be straight back into the title, and then you don't want to take it straight off of Thunder and put it back on Britt. So,
no.
Yeah, an interesting problem for them to solve, and maybe maybe with Britt is mixed tag, and her and Cole doing some mixed tag stuff. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, the thing is, Britt losing wasn't going to hurt her. Britt is bulletproof at the minute. She can take quite a few losses before you even have to worry about it. So giving it Ruby the win would have been more interesting, but they've gone with the way they have. So we'll see how it goes.
And we can't change the past, so.
And when you got DeLorean,
death
to be fair, though,
Britt Baker wins.
If I got a DeLorean though, and my one thing was I'm going to go back and change that match booking, I think I need to rethink about my ideas of time travel. No, I didn't go back and make myself rich. I went back and convinced someone to change the match booking. That's probably what I do though, if I'm honest.
So we followed that with the 6-person intergender tag match with Paige Van Zandt and the Men of the Year versus Kaz, Tay, and Sammy. I really wanted Paige Van Zandt to go full fucking MMA on this and just batter Tay.
So did
I did on that part, but I wanted Sammy to beat up Scorpio, but sadly it really went the other way.
I'm guessing missing some of Dynamite and Rampage has hurt me because all of a sudden I'm like, why are they booing Sammy in this? Because last time I watched, he was Good. Okay, I'm confused here.
He
It's a
stole
good,
belt.
it's a good topic to cover because I think it happened really organically, Taylor. And when I say really organically, almost overnight. And the crowd just turned. Like it was one of those moments.
The Cody and what's the face's heat.
Bradley.
Yeah.
Okay.
And partially, not necessarily because of the act. Like I do honestly think when they booked this and they put the two of them together, or like obviously together in real life, but when they put the two of them together as an act, I think this was Sammy's breakout moment, leaving the inner circle, and I think they thought, oh, here we go, and these two together will be kind of a power couple, and the crowd did not like it. Now I don't know whether the crowd did not like it because, as you say, nature abhors a vacuum, and they wanted a popular person to boo now that Cody wasn't there. Or for me,
Adam Cole's right there.
But you can't boo Adam
but
Cole.
Adam
It's
Cole-
lovely. It's lovely.
The problem with Adam Cole is he's a cool arsehole.
Whereas Sammy
and Tay are taking over that we're incredulous little shits.
To be fair, they're really good at
like
it.
Brandy and Cody were. So they're basically, the Brandy and Cody hate is just shifted.
Yeah.
The next best thing that's doing the same thing.
The thing that's doing my head in, you're cheering for Dan frigging Lambert. I hate this man. He has come in and he is Cornette. They couldn't get Cornette, so they got Lambert to be Cornette, and it works.
Well, and the amazing thing is that, and again, I'm with you on the incredulity of cheering Dan Lambert, but before this, they had Brandy doing promos against him, and my God, if you're going to make the crowd like anyone, it's by putting Brandy in the ringer with them, and then Cody, and then of course you've come into this, and almost the same things happened, and I do slightly fear that that Lambert at some point transitions from being people like him because they hate the person opposite him more, and then turns into Donald Trump. It feels almost like that, doesn't it? Where it's a joke and then it stops being a joke, and then people actually buy into it and try and push him up. And because he's horrible, that's his whole shtick, isn't it? His whole act is being horrible. I was just going to say on the Sammy Tay thing, like for me, and I like Sammy in the ring, I do, and I like Tay in the ring, they're very good. I really don't like them together. And personally, I don't like them together because, and it's horrible because it's his life, but we had that whole bit not that long ago where Sammy proposed to his long-term girlfriend, and then there was lots of rumors in the social media world that actually that was on the rocks because he was with Tay, and then there was a whole load of stuff where they went, no, how dare you, this is outrageous, and then all of a sudden
Tay was married at the same time.
Well, and then all of a sudden they're together, and it just, and God, like, who am I to judge someone's personal life? Do what you want, but I don't know. It just felt a little bit of a bitter taste for me, and it feels like they're ramming it down my throat.
See, I remember a time when this happened somewhere else, and they literally made the woman's life a living hell.
Yes, I remember it. Yes, and the man made a fortune in his career to a large part off the back of it. Do you know what though? Like, if there's any good that can come from this, and they went full heel in this match. Didn't they? I mean, like. I think that's what they do. You lean into this and you go, I make my money here. And do you know what? They were bloody good. I thought they healed up fantastically. And do you know, Sammy, I'm a big fan of Sammy in the ring. Like what he's done so far. This was a cut above for me in that character work. The way that he lent into the, like, I guess, like just the
arrogant twat.
Yeah.
But mixed with like and anything for this woman.
Yeah.
Because she's the greatest thing since sliced bread, which is lovely as a concept. You know, we should all love our other halves and that sort of thing, and they should be the greatest thing. But they're like so over the top. Yeah, fantastic for me from that regard.
I know Lacey's probably a little bit disappointed, but I was impressed by Paige Van Zandt. She was good.
She was. I just wanted full actual MMA level, just battering.
I'm going to ask this question because I don't want to be disappointed in her, but is she a nicer person than the terrible, horrible human being that currently is in WWE division? If you didn't know, Ronda Rousey is a horrid human being.
I don't know, and I think there's probably something that says if you make your living going into a cage beating people up, there's probably something in there. But as far as I know, I've heard nothing kind of overly negative about her. I think
So I've not heard anything, but then
no,
she is from the South in America, so
yeah,
Not
and she does
necessarily,
hang
but
and she does hang around with Dan Lambert. So like
Yeah.
there's warning signals potentially there, isn't there?
she was impressive. She didn't feel nearly as green as say when Rousey came in or anything like that.
No.
She was impressive because she was doing stuff that I didn't expect her to do. I thought she'd keep
Yeah.
it, they'd keep it base level with it, and she was actually going, "No, I can do more. I can do more."
But it's a thing for all MMA people that come in. Don't pull your punches the way that they do. Just hit them. They can take it.
No.
Do this.
Go look up Ken Shamrock Vader and see what happens when they don't pull their punches.
Then Vader can't tells you.
I think as well with Paige. I think it probably was a good idea doing this as a trio or as a 3-person match, because then she didn't have to sustain that for a long period of time while she's getting up to speed. You know what we were saying earlier about how you transition people into, and because she's coming in as a name, you want her first performance to be impressive. And I think, if that had been a one-on-one with her and Tay, it probably wouldn't have worked anywhere near as good. And Chris, the only reason why you want to see Paige Van Zandt go in there and give Conti that MMA beating is because you, like me, dreamed of that time when she come out and Brandy Rhodes was still there, that she was going to cave Brandy Rhodes in. You're just trying to get your Brandy Rhodes beating in vicariously. I think
I do want to give some love to Kaz though in this, because
he needs love.
I am a big fan from back in the day with Bad Influence and when they were in TNA with him and Daniels, and I love the old SCU stuff. And he can still go and he can still do all his shit.
It's like you were saying with putting Paige in there. They couldn't put her in a match with any safe of hands with Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, Kazarian. Sammy can be a bit reckless, but you're fairly safe. Because again, I'm a bit funny about Ethan Page now because I watch his YouTube stuff, so I see him being goofy and actually really likable in his toy hunt stuff. He's so charming and so likable. So I struggle with him being the heel, but he's so good. But Frankie Kazarian, how have you got that old, stayed, not really had too many major injuries, and still goes so well?
I love Metallica and whiskey.
I hope.
Although now you brought up, Daniels, I miss him and Christopher Daniels together because they were so good.
I hope whatever they do with Ring of Honor, I hope Kaz gets featured in that a little bit more, because again, you can see him getting lost in the shuffle in that AEW roster. But this match goes to show, you bring him into the ring, he'll do a bloody good job. And Scorpio, I like him a lot. Ethan Page, I like him a lot. I think they're both very good in the ring, and I think this match had a lot of people who will hopefully be in AEW for quite a few years and will be higher up in the card for a lot of them later on in their careers, I think. But decent match for me. Decent match.
Am I the only one who wants Sammy and Tay to be together?
Yes.
I don't mind them being together, that's fine. But, they are heels. I want heels to get their hidings. That's, good versus evil. This is how this is meant to be.
An evil win. That's what I want.
Yeah.
In some cases, we do.
So what we're learning here is Lacey is raising an evil genius.
Yes.
So we then follow up with the zero build match of the evening, but we'll try and make some build by saying, oh yeah, Sting got hurt weeks ago. There's your build. Darby versus Kyle O'Reilly. Just get it in now. My match of the night, some proper fucking wrestling. Love me some real fucking wrestling. Working holds, working joints. I was all for this.
I got a horrible admission to make. I was thinking about, because I had to watch this in 2 halves. I watched the first 3 hours yesterday and the last 90 minutes today. I know I watched this match and none of it stuck in my head. apart from the fact I know it was bloody good, but I can't remember the damn match. It's weird.
Kyle O'Reilly won.
I'm gonna go somewhat with agreement with you here, Lacey. This was my match of the night up to this point, because something beats it later. But I love this. I absolutely love this. I'm with you on this felt like, and it was much better even than I expected. I think we talked about it potentially being a dark horse for match of the night, but this surpassed what I thought it was going to be. There was some stiff shots in there, but this felt believable, and this felt believable in the acts that both of them do. Darby didn't sort of change his style too much. He was still doing Darby stuff, but he was being kind of pounded down a little bit more, and it wasn't quite so spot heavy that some of his stuff is. What I said earlier about kind of on some of this stuff, like for example with Joe and Cole, more please of this. I could see them running this back. I don't want to see it every week, but like God, if in a year and a half's time this is on a card again, maybe for like the TNT title or God, even beyond that, I'd be a very happy boy. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, these are two talents to watch. They are going to be great. Like I said, I don't know why I can't remember this match for some bizarre reason. It just didn't sink in. But I do know one thing. I want to see O'Reilly and I want to see Pac have a match, because that would be brutal.
Yes. There was no skateboard. There was no.
There was no skateboard.
Yeah.
No fun video either. He just sort of came out.
This was
rushed. It was not. There was no build.
Yeah, they were clearly not.
Yeah, they said to him, "Can you knock one up in 2 hours? Because you're on the card tonight." And he was like, "No, I can't. I need a bit more editing time."
The thing is, at least these guys are, again, say fair hands. They're going to have not just going to have an average match. They're going to have a good match. And you're putting them out. They are people you can rely on to have a good match, a good solid match.
And not to be too bashing, because I do like to bash E, but again, like, how did they let Kyle O'Reilly go? Like, just what are you doing, you idiots? I know, just you look at this and you go, "Oh, like this is well, we're going to come back to it. This is a really, really long show with lots and lots of matches, but to be able to in a zero build match be able to put on a match like this, God, like why wasn't he on every WWE pay-per-view using to elevate people, elevate himself? Fantastic.
Because Vince McMahon doesn't know what he's doing anymore.
That is true. But
true.
They're not 6 foot tall. That's the problem.
At this point, as I say, I watched this and it knocked my socks off. Match of the night for me at this point.
So we have the women's title match after this, with Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb. Such a good match. So many submission holds. Such wonders as the Stretch Muffler.
I'm so happy. Happy to see that.
Honestly, I nearly sent all of you guys a message, but I was watching it live and I didn't kind of want to do it just in case it woke people up. And I was also a little bit like, if you just randomly get a message from me at 4 o'clock in the morning going, they did the Stretch Muffler, you might think that I was up to something other than watching AEW at that point. So I held back on that.
Or you were, delusional.
Yeah.
Watching it live, you might have been, because man, this tournament was long.
Oh yeah.
I like Thunder Rosa. I like Serena Deeb. The match was just it was just really bad in my opinion.
Did you think it was bad? Were you bored in it?
Maybe because there was no really active stuff other than maybe a few submission holds and going, "Oh, I reached the rope."
And to be fair, this was where was this when we finished it, or did we watch the JSA match and then
watched the JSA
night?
and then.
So yeah, you'd just done a 3-hour stint at this point of watching wrestling.
Yeah, I think this is where I caught it after this as well.
Because I really liked this match.
I did,
but
too.
I must admit, I liked it because it had quite an old school feel to me. Like it had that kind of submissions and two people who were very closely matched. And with Deeb's act, a lot of it is around kind of containing people and almost making them like, I don't know, like for want of a better term, her bitch of kind of going, I'm better than you and I will hold you down. But I did wonder how it would play with an audience that maybe isn't so used to old school matches. But for me, it was a breath of fresh air on this card. And as I say, like from this one doesn't steal my match tonight, but after the last one, I went, oh my God, we really have hit the wrestling portion of this show, and I'm really happy about it. And I bloody needed it at that time in the morning. So yeah, I was all over this match. Thought it was great.
Yeah, there was some interesting submission choices on here of stuff that, like the pendulum. How often do you see that get dragged out? And
the joke, the stretch muffler. When was the last time you saw that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some great old school throwback submission holds, and I was like, yeah. I mean, this one is as obviously seen by the generation gap here. I think this is one more for the older, more cultured wrestling fans.
Hate it, love it.
Than the ones that have been brought up on the Fed spots.
But I mean, again, I think it's something though, like that people will like more because you are right. I think like the Fed don't tend to run matches like this very often, but I think AEW, again, one of the beauties for me of the AEW show is they try to do different styles across a lot of the matches, and I think people grow to love this. I think probably when I first started watching wrestling, when the TV was black and white, like you probably didn't get quite as much. Like you didn't get that mixture of styles. It was kind of one style only, and it took me a while to probably break my programming.
You had
squash matches,
jobber
matches.
No, you had everyone else having proper wrestles, and then Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks just running at each other.
That's true. But yeah, I think it's a match that might be appreciated more over time. But for me, the perfect right result, and I think it will do Thunder even more good having results like this under her belt. I think good booking for me and a good match to sort of showcase what they can do.
I think it's literally impossible for Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa to have a bad match. I just don't think that can happen. They are too good. And yeah, it wasn't a spot fest, but it was good, solid, and it kept you going because you didn't know which way that was going. For most of that match, you didn't know who was walking out with that title, and it could have gone either way. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was nice to see something like that.
And for me, sign them up for a submission match. Things like that. I think this is one of those ones where you can run this back again and build onto this, add in steps, but steps that make sense for the wrestlers that are there. And I'd happily watch it again.
I'm thinking back to the Benoit Angle half an hour submission match, that sort of a thing between these two. Whereas how many submissions can you get in half an hour?
Yeah.
I would take that. What I don't want to take is what comes next.
Hang on,
before we move on.
Was this the first match that had a really shit sharpshooter? Because this night had so many bad sharpshooters.
Other than the final one.
Cole did one early on, which wasn't good.
There was a bad one. There was a bad one in Cole. I seem to remember.
Okay, yeah, because I noticed there was a load of sharpshooters and they were all bad.
While you mentioned
no one does it properly.
While you mentioned bad sharpshooters, I forgot to mention it earlier. The crowning of the Hart, the Owen Hart tournament. That was interesting, wasn't it?
I like the throwback style belts.
I just thought it was a very long segment and a very odd segment. I mean, maybe it was just again the time of night, but it just caught me really funny. I just thought, oh God, this is really really odd. But yeah, I just totally forgot about it at the time. Yeah.
And what also went long, and I never want to. These need to go away.
My match of the night.
Jericho Appreciation Society versus the Blackpool Combat Club, Moxley and Daniels, with Santana, Ortiz, and Kingston in a let's just have a ruck match.
I loved it.
Oh, this was fucking garbage.
No.
This is the worst match of the night. for me.
I'm so
I
sorry.
hated it. I'm sorry, Will. I'm really sorry. I'm glad you enjoyed
Well,
it. I'm glad you found
what we will take in a moment is you can explain to us why
Um,
you liked it and what was
just-
good about it.
Just quickly as well, don't get your head down too much because you know I said something took my match of the night. It was bloody this, and I bloody loved it. So I'm with you,
Yay,
mate.
I'm not the
Oh,
only
it is
one.
2v2, is it? Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I
oh,
tell
yeah.
you one thing. I do not want to hear Wild Thing again.
Yeah,
That was irritating. The
This-
entrance was
it-
great. Apart from,
Ugh.
why does the Jericho Appreciation Society want to be the Backstreet Boys?
That was beautiful. That's one of the things. And again, you know, it goes so well with all the blood that we got later. You know, like maybe it was just
That-
wish fulfillment of the younger me wanting to see the Backstreet Boys come to that end. I don't know, but yeah, I love that part of it.
The thing that annoys me though is like, why does Jericho still come out to Judas?
Yeah.
Because he's meant to be the evil cunt that doesn't
He's a
like the
sports
fans.
entertainer, Chris. Keep
Yeah,
up with the storylines, mate.
Yeah,
He's a sports
then he should
entertainer. That's
have
what a
some
sports
sort of-
entertainer would do.
You should have some better, like, different music that's more, you know, fitting the Backstreet Boys look that they got going on. But yeah, no, this, fuck it, no, just no. I don't need to see this anymore. I wish that Kingston had actually set Jericho on fire, so I never have to see Jericho again.
And there was
I am done with Jericho.
Jericho and his massive bald spot. Jesus.
But as it is time for a right to reply, Will, explain to us why this was as amazing as it was and better than, you know, the good proper wrestling that we had.
Be quiet about
Objection,
that.
leading question.
Passive aggressive questioning techniques there.
Be quiet about what you're talking about. There's three big reasons. One, because of there's so much blood. Why? I want to know why, but it was funny. And why did they have to put sauce in there? They put mustard on people. What were they thinking? At the time, I said, "Oh, well, they're gonna lick the mustard off of him or something," and I'm like, "What are you doing? This is just stupid." Though I do like that when they do, like with the Hardy match, when they true it was after they won, but they went out and like was showing it to the whole crowd, and same with the Jericho Appreciation Society, Blackpool Combat Moxley, that lot match. It was I really liked it because of those two reasons, and the final reason is because I like big matches like that. I wish AEW had something like the Royal Rumble in. Like, I like those big matches.
That's fair. I can agree with that. I think the trouble is, unlike the Stadium Stampedes, where it was big open areas, it was really easy to follow. It was made really easy to follow in the way it was shot. This just felt like a mess that you didn't know where people were and what was going on a lot of the time. Because like you literally lose Eddie Kingston for ages, don't you? And then he turns up with the gasoline. It's like
They
think-
go
I
in
think
the
he-
freighter lift,
They
don't
go,
they?
yeah, they go for a freight lift and not sin for a good 5 to 6 minutes, and then he appears again with gasoline, doesn't he?
Yeah. I just
Um,
think
sorry.
it just felt like a big mess, which was a real struggle to follow where everyone was.
I think.
Seddon, what's your reason?
Well, I think Chris had referred to it on the prediction, so I keep calling you Chris tonight, Lacey. Sorry. As
Chris.
the new version of the football field fuckery match. I normally hate this sort of match. I really do. These always leave me cold, regardless of where it is. Even going right way back to ECW days, just never been my thing. And so when this come on, I think I predicted that this would be my good. I get to go and have a wee and make a cup of tea match. And
Yeah, that's what you said.
in my head, I thought that's what I was going to do. And I don't hate Wild Thing. In fact, if anything, I could have done with another 5 to 10 minutes of Wild Thing playing. I loved that played through that opening, like sort of almost 12 to 14 minute stretch of the match. I thought it was great. It reminded me of the old school ECW days when it used to be, oh god, what's
New
Nut
Jack.
Boy's
New
name?
Jack.
New Jack, yeah. And
Yeah,
admittedly
but there
with
was a
different-
difference.
I know
There's
there's
a
a different
difference with
kind of
that.
song.
New Jack comes in, hits people with stuff, gets out. It's in the ring and it's one thing.
Oh, you know,
It's
assaults
not-
an
it's
underage
not-
person with a knife.
Yeah, or
He deserved
throw
it.
someone off of scaffolding.
Who deserved it?
Yeah, well, but you know,
I didn't say he
so,
didn't deserve it.
so that grabbed me straight away, and I went, "Oh, I'm loving this." And of course, like you know, it's going to be spotty. It's going to be all over the place and tough to follow. But I think weirdly enough, I think getting blood early made me kind of go, "Okay, brilliant. You've got that out of the way. We're not kind of just building to that spot." I think they used the arena quite fun and quite well. And you know, like we said, like it's tough to follow. And I laughed when we talked about the Eddie Kingston going off into the lift. I don't know why, but I love that. I love the fact that they just went, "Oh, he's gone off in a lift. Where's he going?" And then you don't see him for ages, and then he appears with gasoline. I just thought the random elements to it really, really worked. And of course, then we get to kind of the end stretch of it, where I think we'd said like, the prediction was I went with the Jericho Appreciation Society, and probably something between Kingston and Brian Danielson, and of course he did that. But then there was more to it after that, and I don't know why, but I loved it every single minute of it. And I kept thinking, well, when am I going to have a wee? Because I'm not going to pop out during this match because I was just excited by a match style I normally hate. And I know what you say about Jericho, but I think Jericho's still got so much more mileage in him, and I think he's really good for 2.0. And I
with you.
not necessarily in the ring, but I think as an act, I think he can get people over. Like this new like I'm the Wizard stuff. It's stupid, but it
No.
works. Oh no, I'm with it.
No.
He got it over. Was it or the over? I can't remember.
You got the
Hit.
you just and you like pop plant at one point as well, wasn't it? When he did the feud with
Mitch.
Ambrose in it's
But
just
This is
the
thing,
guy's a genius.
The problem is, he was fine when he first came in. He was the big start they needed when they first started AEW. But for the past year and a half, whoever he's in with since he's been there with MJF, he has dragged them down to his level of just fucking clown arsing bullshit.
Yeah, I was kind of
Get
glad when
Jericho
they broke up in a
out.
circle.
Bin him fucking back
No,
to the Fed.
no.
Let him have his fucking ego
Commentator.
run.
Commentator.
Oh, he's even worse on commentary.
no,
I think
no,
No.
no.
Keep Ricky
Commentator.
Starks. Please keep Ricky Starks.
No, I would get Jericho, bin him back to the Fed, let him have a year or so there, have his final glory run, and be done with it. Thank you for starting AEW. Thank you for being there when you needed it to begin with. Now fuck off.
I know you said it there, Taylor. Like, I was also with you. I was glad when the Inner Circle ended because I wanted to see Santana and Ortiz go on and do something. I wanted to see Sammy go on and do something. Not so bothered about Jake Hager. But I think that's possibly partially some of the strength of Jericho because I've always liked him, like as an act right the way kind of back. I've always liked him, but I think that's a role that he can play really well. He does still have some star quality to him, and I think almost that arrogance that everything is about him is the story, isn't it? And that's what happens. Well, hopefully, if done successfully, let's go with Danny Garcia. When Danny Garcia breaks away from him at a certain point because of that, I think you get this real great moment, and I think that's why you have him around. And plus, as I said, I want some variance on these shows these days, and sometimes that means taking matches that aren't really my cup of tea, and this normally would be that, but. I want him in it. I think the product is better for him, but I understand I somewhat stand alone in this room for it. But I think it's great, but in the same way as I think the Bucks are great. I think a large part of the act is trolling wrestling fans, and I think there's a market for that and a market that I can buy into. But match of the night for me.
Same here.
I honestly, I didn't think it beforehand. If you just said to me, no way on earth did I think I'd enjoy this as much as I did. And as I say, I'm not entirely sure I can really justify why I enjoyed it, but it was just so much fun for me.
Were you punch drunk at this point in the night? Was that
Quite
what it
possibly.
was?
No. I would say my punch drunk, unfortunately,
Delirious.
comes in the next match, unfortunately. But
So we then have our three-way tag team title match between Jurassic Express, Swerve in His Glory, and Team Taz. Surprisingly, Jurassic Express keep the belts. That I didn't see coming. This was good. I liked it. My one beef: if you're gonna have a triple threat tag match where the whole point is that you tag in and out, then actually stick to the rules.
Not
But
Powerhouse Hob. Mark. No. You're Keith Lee. I'm Powerhouse Hobbs. I'm in the ring. Oh. You tag me. Oh, fuck you. I'm staying in the ring. None of that. Actually follow the tag rules.
Exactly.
There's one thing I've learned about Lacey is you don't mess with rules when Lacey's around. He loves a rule, that boy.
Not all the time.
How things work. Rules.
Not all the time.
But Swerve. The more I see of him, the more I'm liking Swerve. As we said, the little of him I did see when he was in the Fed, I didn't see what everyone was going on about. But then he was being feted, clearly. Him and Keith Lee, I am loving these two as a tag team. And I really am surprised that Jurassic Express kept the belts on this.
Well,
This
it bears
is a perfect
mentioning
time to take him off.
It bears mention that in our predictions, as much as we all went all over the shop, the one thing we all said is no way are Jurassic Express leaving this with the titles. So yeah, we all got that.
And
wrong,
I believe there was comments about Christian or Jungle Boy turning heel on Jurassic Express.
I'm still
They're
praying
building
for my
that one
Jungle Boy.
still.
Yeah, I'm praying for my Jungle Boy heel turn still.
I think that would be the better way to go, but
yeah,
I tell you what I have, which has surprised me. I know you've talked about Keith Lee and Swerve, but I'm actually more impressed with. I'm really liking Team Taz. I used to hate them, but I've got a real love for Ricky Starks.
Same here.
Because the first time I saw him, I was like, "Oh, you're just doing like early era Nation Rock." But actually, no, you're doing it in your own way, and it works. And I really like that. Hobbs is just he is really good as well. So I was really expecting them to win this match because I think you don't need it on Swerve and Keith Lee. They are just stars. They don't need belts. They are stars already. What they can do.
They'll always challenge.
Yeah, but giving it to Team Taz would have been a really good move for them. It would elevate Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs to be taken more seriously. Not that they're not, but I just think that little extra push and it would be really great.
Well, I think really, that, as you say, like a ring chock full of people who you go, yep, I could watch many more matches involving all of these participants with each other, with other people, and I often hear now about like the bloated roster of AEW and things like that, but their roster is so good, and this is why. Because like right away, kind of up and down the card, you've got talents like this that can move up and down the card. And I'm with you. I think at some point you pull the trigger on Ricky Starks and you really push him up the top. And I think a little bit later on, you do the same with Powerhouse Hobbs. I think Keith Lee, you can transition into any of the titles at any point already. I think like kind of the name factors there and the in-rings there. I think Swerve still needs a little bit of care and attention, not in what he can do, so I think he's fantastic, but I think he still needs just a little bit more exposure to the crowd. But yeah, a ring full of stars and Jurassic Express, and I don't mean that in a mean way, because I think Jungle Boy, obviously they promote him as one of the pillars, but this match was, albeit they come out with a win, this match was about showcasing Swerve and Keith Lee and Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks, and it was all the better for it. I will say it was a shame because doing this live, I was flagging a bit during this, and it was nothing to do with the match. Like the match was really good, but I was feeling the pain a little bit at this point. So I feel like maybe if this had, for example, if this had been the opener, I think I'd rate it even higher than I probably did.
Yeah, we came back to this point in the start of our second set of watching.
Yeah.
Because, after...
It was 10 o'clock and we watched how many matches?
Most of the card.
Yeah, we had two left.
I think for me, this was heading into the 5:15 in the morning time, knowing that my alarm was going off for work at 7. So I was feeling it a little bit here.
Oh dear. But this was the reason that you had to stay up until the silly hours of the morning, was so you didn't get this following match spoiled.
Before we do, we might want to mention that this as well. We got another AEW debut, didn't we? We got a backstage segment with Andrade, and he introduced that Roosh is going to be joining him in AEW. So again, we've now got another amazing in-ring talent to fit onto that card. But be really interested to see where they go with those two boys, whether the idea is going to be tag team or whether they're both going to go off singles-wise. But yes, another great signing for AEW.
I need to say something as well.
Oh, yes.
You do the intro and say who wins, but then I need to say something.
Okay. So the reason that we were all watching this, the world title match between Hangman Page and the voice of the voiceless, CM Punk. Our boy CM Punk takes the belt in a decent match. It was all right. Still not convinced on Hangman. Thankfully, Punk has won it. Punk needs to stop doing that punk shot lariat because he can't land it for shit. But yeah, Punk is champion. I'm very happy about this and exactly how I had it booked.
I thought it was Hangman on the predict video, and then I was debating it through the day, and I was like, it's Punk. Punk is gonna get it. Hangman's gonna get it back, and then they're just gonna have a fall again, and they're gonna be like, meh. I fight you. Buckshot lariat. Oh, I'm shit at doing it. Oh, I break my leg. But I was debating from Hangman to Punk, Page Punk, and then before you watched it, it was right then I was thinking it was Punk, and then I saw it was Punk, and I was like, I knew I should have changed my mind, and I was like.
But your prediction was already set in stone, so you can't change your mind after that.
Not involved in that. Not my problem.
I get a DeLorean. I get a DeLorean, and then I go 66 miles
Just leave
per
yourself a
hour.
note.
Yeah.
See,
I went back in time and changed my YouTube prediction. That's even worse than me going back and changing the match booking, isn't it?
I don't know how to feel about this. I like Hangman Adam Page. I genuinely like him. But his title run has been very hit and miss. It got off to a great start with the Daniel Bryan stuff. I know Lacey wasn't too keen on the Adam Cole stuff, but I thought that was really good. I thought the murder hook was forgettable, and just you knew how that was one of those matches where you just went, well, yeah, Page is winning. But during parts of this match, Page felt like a champion. He really felt like he should be up there. But Punk is clearly the person to put this title on right now. And I feel bad for Page because I think he's done a lot of good work. I think he's done a lot of growth. But Punk is the right choice. And I hate saying that because I really, really like Hangman. But yeah, Punk's the right choice to go with. Now turn him heel.
When we did the predictions, I mean, that's one of the hard parts of it, isn't it? Like, you have someone like Punk in your company. It's probably foolish not to use him and put him as your main person. I as I said, I wanted Page to win, and that was a one more than I thought it would happen. I really wanted Page to win. I thought it would be a very good thing for him, and I think there was more storyline you can go with. And I'm not saying the storyline's over. And where I disagree is I love this match, and I think we've talked about this before, Lacey. You don't vibe with Page like I do, and this match was for me why I love Hangman Page, because I think this is when he shines. I think like from pre-match right the way through, I think he just does so much with his body language and his facial expressions before he even starts doing anything in the ring to sell the story. And again, for me, I don't know, maybe stories just jump out, but all the way through this, it was, well, all the way through this, from the start of it, you could see he didn't want to even hand his title over to the ref because he, for whatever reason, so voraciously felt like him not having that title anymore was such a bad thing, and Punk getting it was. And then you started to see, as the match goes on, that transitions into him being probably more vicious than maybe we've seen him be in his other matches. And I just love the way it's paced. Now, don't get me wrong. Obviously, we can't ignore there were some sloppy moments in there, weren't there? Like, as you say, the Punk attempt at the buckshot lariat. Sometimes things go wrong, but I think it's a testament to a match that I didn't care. Things will go wrong, but I think everything was done with such good intent and such good quality for the rest of it. Then shit, I'll take a botch here and there. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Like I said on quite a few matches on this card, it made me want more. It made me want to see these guys go at it again. I would leave a gap though. I would like to see them revisit this 6 months down the line, because I think Punk could still do with a bit more in-ring, getting himself up to speed again still. I mean, he does look puffed out a lot sooner than the younger ones do, which is fair enough, but
he is 47.
Yeah, but give this 6 months, and I think
like 40.
No.
But give this 6 months, and I think you come back to this, and I think there's an even better match in the two of them than this one. But as a first dance from, I thought it was great.
It's a little underwhelmed by Hangman's run, which is a shame because I think he is genuinely as a talent. I think Punk is the right person to have it on, just because the mix of matches you could have right now is incredible. I mean, you throw it out there, you could a Punk Adam Cole match would be great. Punk Pac would be great. I think it'd be violent as all hell. Or even Daniel Bryan.
Well,
Bryan
that's
Danielson.
That's the one
That's the gold tier.
That's the one. That was the obvious one to go for. But even Punk Mox would be an interesting match.
Yeah, and
Punk Kyle O'Reilly.
Punk Jericho, just to ignore my dad.
And Punk's great on the mic, and I think they've got a lot of people who could benefit from having someone be able to run a feud by their own. But also, they've got great people on the mic, and as you say, so many of them. I mean, again, Moxley, him, like the build to that would be worth it alone before you even get to the match.
I know you talked about it earlier. How long before MGF comes a knocking?
Again, as long as he signs his contract, I hope soonish, because I would like if he was going to drop the title to anyone, that's who I'd like him to drop the title to. And I know that's kind of precluding at some point, hopefully Kenny Omega's fit to come back, and I'd love to see Punk Omega. But if I was going to see someone take the title off Punk, I'd like it to be MJF, because it feels like that is what would happen in this long-term story that they have there. But yeah, really, I mean, it's my favourite wrestler of all time. So of course I'm never going to complain when he gets a title. I am interested to see what they do with Paige from here. I presume they'll probably go back to the self-esteem, confidence thing. I hope they don't lean back into the drinking thing, because I think they kind of did that part of it to death. And I don't know, I'm always quite sensitive about drinking habits as a storyline after WCW doing the horrific things they did with Scott Hall back in the day. But I want them to use this to elevate Hangman. I'm not sure how they do it, and I think a win against Punk would actually be even better to elevate him back up. But
my concern here with Hangman is more the fact it's a him thing. I think when you give an opponent where he's motivated, he has very good matches. In the Bryant match, the Adam Cole match, where it's someone he can't get motivated against, Murder Hawk, the matches aren't. They're good, but they're not to the quality that he can do. The other thing I'm wondering now is, I know it seems to have stopped in a minute, but we did seem to be having a bit where it looked like it was going to be Elite versus Undisputed, or whatever they would call themselves. I wonder if that might come back onto the cards now.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously he's been away from the Elite for a very long time, hasn't he? So yes, I think he could easily get pulled into that. But I wouldn't want it though, because I think unless he's going to almost lead a faction of his own, unless like the Bucks go under him and they take on Cole and O'Reilly and Fish, but then of course that leaves Kenny out on the ledge if he does come back in that time. But yeah, I think if he just become a part of that feud, I think that would be a huge step back for him. I think I'd rather him go back to the Dark Order than that.
Ouch.
Though
But I
obviously
think
with the upcoming Forbidden Door and obviously Switchblade saying about Bullet Club versus Elite, if you need something for a short term, because isn't that the end of next month?
June
Forbidden Door?
26th, I think it is. Yeah, so yeah, end of the month.
So it's something easy that you can then just chuck in there, because I'm going to imagine it's going to be predominantly AEW versus New Japan, not
AEW v AEW.
yeah. So
yeah, I presume so. I presume every match is going to be a cross promotion one.
Do we even know who's taking part in that? Because they've not really said anything.
No matches announced yet, but I reckon probably they were waiting to get the other side of Double or Nothing, because I don't think they wanted anything specifically to take away the attention from the matches on this card.
Because there's certain names in New Japan that I'm like, are you coming?
I would hope that as of like Dynamite this week, I'm hoping we start to get some of those matches known and they start to kind of drip feed it to us. Because to be honest, they're probably not going to be able to do it. But they're not going to be able to do a ton of build generally, and they probably won't. But I mean, there's so many matches there that to be honest, you don't even need to build any of the matches, do you?
You could literally just say, you could literally say, Ibushi versus, well, fuck it, if it's Ibushi, I don't care who he's against, I'm watching that.
Well, I saw like a really good fantasy booking that said Ibushi versus MJF, and the winner is the person who turns up. I thought that was quite a good idea.
Is Kenta in New Japan?
Yeah.
Or whatever he goes with now. Kenta and Punk, because that's been something that's been brewing for years.
I'd like to see it. I don't know whether they'd like to do it, but I'd like to see it, yeah.
See, I'm a bit behind him on New Japan. Who's even in the Bullet Club at the minute? Because I can't even, it changes that often now.
It's oh god, Kenta, Switchblade, oh god, Juice Robinson, God are out, aren't they? They got booted. I can't remember the rest. Blanking. Unfortunately, it's because I've been on a bit of a TNA binge. So Bullet Club to me is Chris Bay, as far as I'm concerned.
There's only one incarnation of the Bullet Club I care about, and he's unfortunately stuck in Fed, I think.
Yeah. Yes. Imprisoned behind that. Imprisoned in that same place that Buddy Murphy and Black was once.
Yes. Give us back Fergal. We want Fergal back.
So we will overalls of the show. And first, Will.
My overall is it's all round good. It's not it's better than like the normal Rampage. It's better since it's like their big thing, but it's not, in my opinion, the level of like a Royal Rumble level for me. It just seems I really like those big matches. The best thing in that was probably the Jericho Appreciation Society match.
So basically what you're saying is you need a marquee match for you to enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Like a Rumble match or a Money in the Bank or like one of those big spectacle matches.
Yeah.
What have you raised, Lacey?
He's learning. He's learning. Look, he knows what he likes at least.
There is that, but I raised you better than that on many years of good NXT. In NWA from the 80s.
No, that was awful, Dad. That was actually just shit.
Right, that's no switch for you.
What? What?
I'm saying nothing. When my son was growing up, I got him into ICW.
Why would you torture them?
Wait, what?
That's just mean.
Which one is ICW, Dad?
The Scottish Federation.
Oh.
I don't mind it.
Do you know that? You know when we went to when we watched Norwich that wasn't WWF
Oh
and it
yeah.
had Grado and all that lot. It was basically
Well, I was going to
mostly
say,
them.
like
Oh no, that was horrible.
Grado coming out to
Like a prayer.
6,000 drunk Scotsmen singing like a prayer is a sight to behold. That alone is worth the ICW shows for me. A Double or Nothing, I thought was a really good event. I thought it was a really good card. It didn't disappoint for me. However, and this is the big however, it was too long. Watching that, and I've got to kind of caveat that with UK eyes. So if I was in the States watching it at a more reasonable hour of the day, maybe I wouldn't have felt the burnout so much. But yes, when I'm watching the main event and 5:30 getting on for 6 rolling around, you go, oof. This has felt like a slog at this point, unfortunately. However, having said all of that, the crowd were brilliant through this, absolute stars of the show, and by extension, you have to put a lot of that down to the performers and the way that it's booked, because sometimes crowds are just like very excitable, but I think that the booking kind of kept them in it. But yeah, I don't. Bearing in mind this is kind of their marquee show, let's say their Mania equivalent, arguably. Did it have Mania levels behind it of hype and maybe excitement? In the glittery excitement, no. But would I take this card over any of the Mania cards that I have seen, especially the really long ones comparatively? Yeah, I thought this was tons better, and I think it's well worth a watch. I would recommend for anyone who hasn't seen it, split it into 2. Like, I think that's probably makes it a more palatable watch. I don't know where I'd cut it in half, but I think there's a certain point, maybe after the Owen Hart tournament, and I'd do it in 2 chunks. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good show.
Yeah, and it is one of those it is good. I really did enjoy it, but fuck, it's a slog. That sort of length, I get it. Obviously, there was Game 7, and they wanted to make sure that people could still switch over and watch the main event after the basketball. But I miss a 3-hour tight pay per view. We were getting them at first with AEW. There was a lot of tighter times on them, and I was like, I can get behind this. And now they're just bloating, and it's got that. It reminds me of Mania. Was it 35 or 36? The one in New York that went for nearly fucking 8 hours. You're getting to that sort of. We're going too long.
The one thing I'd say comparatively, and I think you're right, I think timescale wise, it did feel like before they started to split them into 2 nights, there was a bit of that there. The one thing I'll say though is at least it's delivered. Like, as much as it was hard not to burn out a bit, it to the most part, I think we said on pretty much most of the matches, we enjoyed most of the matches. Whereas I think that's where it's slightly different to that Mania, is that Mania was a shit card with shit matches from pretty much from top to bottom. And I go, 8 hours of bad wrestling is much harder to take than 6 hours of good wrestling. But 6 hours of good wrestling is quite hard to do, I think. Taylor, what about you?
I'm with you. I think it was a good show. You can sort of see the bloats kind of creeping in a bit, so maybe they want to rein that back. But again, we have to remember that Double or Nothing is their WrestleMania, so they might try and push it a bit more. Maybe 1 or 2 less matches would be fine. Just pick that pace up, like you said. But overall, yeah, split the show in half so you can have a nice break. It's worth your time. It's got some really fantastic matches out in there, so you won't be disappointed. You might skip a few bits, but on the whole, it's a really good outing from them. They don't tend to do really bad pay-per-views, to be fair. No. They don't do them that often to have bad pay-per-views, which is probably working better for them, to be honest.
Well, it's one of the questions I was going to ask of going, when we talk about having a roster of so many people that you'd like to see in matches on pay-per-views. Is the argument shorter pay-per-views but more regular? But I think you're right with what you said there. I think the counterbalance to that is then you get pay-per-view burnout rather than on the night burnout of going, well, God, like here's another bloody one.
But then don't they do the idea with the special
yeah
TV shows like the Roland Garros one or the St. Paddy's Day and things like that.
Winter's coming, things like that.
They have event week TVs
Yeah.
where you get the big matches. You don't need to have the pay-per-view every month because you've got your month build for your big show. You've got a semi-regular big TV-ish episode that you can have those payoffs.
Well, it's not the worst problem to have, is it? Going, we've got so many brilliant people, we don't have enough time for them. I think I'd rather that than, oh God, I'm going to WWE bash again. Going, we're not going to use the ones that we have got that are good. And what we'll do is we'll just put on another Happy Corbin match for 25 minutes that no one wants to see because we need to fill time. And again, that's a bit
What
unfair
dirt does
to
that
him.
man have? What dirt does that man have that he's kept gainfully employed?
I'm sure he's got some photos of everyone. He must have, but yeah, it's an interesting problem to have, and how they continue to book. But yeah, one of the things I guess that made this that did kind of fit with that Mania level show is it was the culmination of a lot of their storylines. You know, a lot of their storylines. So Wardlow, Punk getting the title, things like that. You kind of go, yes, and then this week's Dynamite presumably will be the jumping off for the next chapters for a lot of these people. It left me wanting to see some of these matches again with these acts going against each other at later dates, probably higher up on the card, and it made me want to know what comes next. So I think they did their job really well from that regard.
Oh yeah, definitely. It leave you wanting more, or to see things again is definitely a good thing.
Yeah, so we will reconvene when a certain door is opened. Obviously, we will do a prediction show for Forbidden Door, as long as we get a card for that prior to it. I'm giving this to Sed, so you can do some work, Sed.
What?
Need to get the
What are you bloody editing the bloody
predictions.
show? What's that about?
Get the predictions from the old one, so we can then start our
Point tally.
Yeah.
point tally up.
Yeah. And I'll put something up on our Facebook and our Twitter about it so that people know like how we did. And I can tell you this in advance. I know I did really badly. So, but
I won by not playing.
My dad
well, to be honest, Taylor, I think you probably scored higher than me without picking any. I think that's the truth. But I will continue to stick by my stupidity of going. I will predict what I want to happen, not what I think will happen. You're right. Forbidden Door will come up. We'll do something similar around there, and also no pressure. But I've not spoken to the boys. But I have an idea of maybe some interim stretch muffling shows we might do. A couple of topics we might want to hit up. So you might get some more stretch muffling in between.
Ooh.
No pressure.
I'm not sure if I should be afraid or not now.
Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe button, and comment what your predictions were on the show, and rate them out of how many matches were there?
There was lots of matches. So.
However many
72.
matches. Yeah, rate it out of 72, and don't forget to click that notification bell so you'll be notified when we upload a new video. And until the next time, goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from us.
Exactly. Before we do run away, Taylor has streams of video game wonders.
I'm glad you mentioned it, because I meant to say earlier, and it's probably what I should have led off with and just left it as that. But Taylor is my favourite killer. And, feel free to expand on that if you want, or just leave it hanging like that.
So for those of you who don't know, my name is Taylor Nova. I am trans. You may have guessed this from the video. I also stream on Friday and Saturday nights. I play classic games on my stream. I'm currently being murdered by Tomb Raider 2. That game is ludicrously hard. But what Shell was alluding to on my YouTube channel, Taylor Nova, I also have other games up there, and one of those is a game called Dead by Daylight. And I've taken to being the killer in that game, and one of the fun killers to play in there was Michael Myers. And one of the nice touches they put in about that, they included the music.
Oh god, yes.
Nice.
I want to ask something.
No,
What?
you can't play it.
No, I'm not asking. Two things. I
Two
will
things.
recommend a game to you.
Okay.
It's going to be Fortnite, so
And-
don't get your hopes up.
No, it isn't. It isn't Fortnite.
Good.
And
good.
what's the channel called?
The channel is Taylor Nova on YouTube, Taylor Nova on Twitch, and like I said, Friday and Saturday nights I stream, and all throughout the week I will have videos going up on the YouTube channels. I have a little series going on other things. So we've got Dead by Daylight, who find archives of the streams, and also I have just started a series called Power Wash Simulator because it was my Zen game.
And I watched it today, and it's gone straight onto my Steam list to purchase. If I'm anything worth my salt, which I'm often not, what I will do is while we're doing all this bit as well, I'll put up all the details for yours on the stream, or if not, I'll stick it in the description. But yes,
So check
as I
the
say,
link
you're
in the description down
Yeah.
below,
thank
so
you.
you can go to the channels.
See,
What was
I
your
need
game
people to
you-
remind me to say this stuff in my videos because I always get to the end of the video and go, "Damn, I forgot to do the like and subscribe thing."
I'll hire him out for you. $5 a video.
No,
I'm
no, one
I'm with
quid,
you on
1 quid
Taylor.
a minute.
I'm with you, Taylor. It's normally like I'm so relieved to have made it to the end without saying something so controversial. I'll get arrested that I just go right, stop, and then forget that you're supposed to kind of pimp your stuff. And Will, you said you had a game to recommend, didn't you?
Cookie Run Kingdom. It's very fun. It's a cookie RPG game, and so you have cookies.
It's a mobile game before you start
No,
trying to
and
find
you
it.
can do it on PC as well. PC.
I will
and
Hello,
not do
Dad.
it. It's just for I'll do it for the shits and giggles. This is me. I play Dead by Daylight. I know how stress is, so trust me. Playing something stupid is always fun.
You basically have cookies which try to battle other cookies, and yeah, it's just
Do you know
really
what?
fun.
I'm looking at it now. It does look quite fun.
And if anybody wants to know my name, it is capital MANIC, capital MANGO, Manic Mango. And I know my name sounds really weird. I'm actually I'm in the top 500 in the leaderboard of the 1 million-ish players who play. So don't try battle my team if you friend me. I have meta team right now, level 70 best team cookie stuff.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. The confidence there is going, come and be my friend, but don't battle me because I will own you. I will destroy you.
I actually will. I have an
take
over
that back.
1 million
Lacey-
power
Lacey
team
didn't
now.
even do this. He's raising the next MJF.
Yes, yes.
But yes, I recommend live streaming as well. People get and just to let you know, do not buy the package deals. They try to tempt you with so many package deals. There's so many. They're like, oh, as soon as you promoted this cookie, $400. Oh, then you get 15 soul stones. Not worth it. And they just tempt you with so much money. There's only like every month they give one good deal, which is like $1.79, and you get like 10 magic cookie cutters, a load of XP, and a guaranteed epic cookie.
I think we need to get you a show on the channel, Will. We need to get you a Cookie Run Kingdom show, I think.
I actually want to. I actually want to make a YouTube channel doing Cookie Run Kingdom.
Do it on my bloody channel. Don't make your own.
Yeah.
Sod off. Give
Yes.
me that cash money.
Wait 2 seconds. Be right back.
Oh dear.
He's off to start his YouTube channel right now. He's like, see you later, Dad. I'm off.
Somebody's created a monster and it wasn't me, so I'm fine.
That's true. That's true.
What are you doing now?
There'll be some hard cuts at the end here.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm showing you Cookie Run Kingdom.
They won't be able to see it.
They can see the loading screen.
Are you
Okay,
just
well
a
done.
question before I stick this out? Are you sponsored by Cookie Run Kingdom at all? Is this what's happening here?
one told
No.
us.
No.
It's a free pack if he mentions it on any YouTube video he appears on.
I don't know, but if he is, I want some of that money.
Wait 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's
Anywho.
not like cash money.
Yeah,
So-
but see, they just tempt you with so many package deals. They're just like,
It's like a public service announcement.
No.
Don't get sucked in
Through my phone.
So,
to online mobile
as,
games.
as I was
But
saying,
recommend playing Cookie Run Kingdom. Okay, everyone, go play it. Go. Said put a link in the description to Cookie
Oh
Run
yeah, I'm all over
Kingdom.
that. Don't you worry about it. Don't you worry about it. Could get a sponsorship deal
Anywho.
for Stretch Mufflers.
I'm going to need a drink now. It's my birthday, so I'm going to enjoy this one. Maybe smothering.
No.
But until next time, and a forbidden door, or a special that may come sooner, goodbye.
Goodbye.